This is Kim Pinkney. I'm going to show you how to do some dark skin tones using the Sharpie Stained. And the three colors that I'm going to use for this face right here is orange, red, and purple. You know that with the 8 colors, you don't get a brown. So you're going to have to make one. The only thing about making the brown is that it takes layering to do this, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with orange. And instead of putting it directly onto the face, I'm going to lighten it up and use it as a base. I can go around it if you're one of those folks that like to outline. We'll go ahead and outline the face. And if you want to dull up the orange a little bit, go ahead and draw with pencil and leave the pencil on there. Don't go over it with a marker, and that way it'll dull up the orange and it'll smear a little bit. See, this is what it looks like when it first goes on, and this is what it looks like when it's going over your pencil. And you'll see that when I start to do the around the outside of the face, around these parts and stuff like that, it'll start to smear a bit because I'm going to be rubbing it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the base. I usually start with the neck to gauge how much of what's going on to the, this is a dry marker, there's nothing in it, and all I'm using is basically water, dipping it in water and kind of doing a wash, I think that's what it's called, and I'm working my way out and inward. Okay, I'm comfortable with the amount that's going on from the marker to the dry marker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working with this even though it's wet. And I'm going to have the colors blend. Okay, now you see how it's getting dark? There we go. Every place that I'm putting this is where I want this to be dark. I want it to be dark all around. And I'm going to leave spots for where I think the light is going to be hitting it the hardest. Where I think the light's going to be hitting it the least, that's where it's lightest. And I still want these parts to be brown. And the only reason why I'm not putting it directly onto the shirt, using the marker directly onto the shirt, is it comes out really fast, really thick, very vibrant. I don't mind using it down beneath where I want a nice dark shadow in some places. That's where it's going to be kind of really dark. Right there. Right there. We'll give it maybe a little bit in her corners. Okay, and around the edges. And we're going to work it out so it's like a gradient color. So you can do this sort of thing. Go with it dark. And then come back with some water and work it out. Make sure you just barely dip it in water, or else you'll get a big wet stain. Okay, it's going to be dark in this area. You got to be quick because it dries fairly fast. See, I put too much water on that. I should have dabbed it. If that happens, just let it dry a little bit before you work any more colors into that. That way you want to maintain control. If you want less ink on here when you do these, keep it upright. If you need more, keep it down, okay? Because all the ink starts to go down this way. Okay, next color we're going to use is red. And I'm leaving almost next to no time for us to dry. So I'm just going to keep going and doing the same thing. Red is just going to go over the same spots. Red comes out much more vibrant. So you want to use maybe just a dab of this. Where I use maybe 2 on with orange, you want to just use a dab of red. And you can see already under here it's starting to change color. So she's going to have dark skin with kind of like a warm tone. If you're having troubles coloring, color in like a circular fashion to work it in. So it was a little wet down here and it's bleeding into the face here. That's going to be okay because we're going to add more colors to this. So we'll just keep going, just keep working with it. And just keep working it in. And if you ever have any problems on where you want to put the shadows or the darker skin tone, work from a photo reference, and that'll help you with placement of your shadows and where you should keep it lightest, your highlights and whatnot. And again, if you find it a little dark right here, just keep working it in. Add a little bit more and try to get it to blend as much as you can. And again, it's not the end of the world if you do make a mistake, because you're going to have another color, a couple colors going over it. So it's no, uh, uh, it's not a deal breaker. Like even down here, it's starting to dry. We'll let it dry a little bit more. And I think what it was that my board that's underneath got wet. So that might have kept the color and kept it running. So I'm going to try to get this side to match this side a little bit. All right. We'll just keep going over some of the orange. Okay, and then I'll put that back underneath here. And then we'll work it downwards. Okay, so we've got those colors there. And now I'm going to go over with a purple, but I'm going to do it very lightly. Okay, so what I did is I wet this to clean it. And you don't even have to clean it actually, because you really do want these colors to blend. Now supposedly the colors that you need to make brown are red, orange, no, red, yellow, and a little bit of black. It's supposed to be more yellow than, like, what was it? It was 10% black, maybe a 40% red, and then like a 50% yellow. I think that's what I saw as a combination. But that doesn't work that well on this. It will get you a brown, but it's really hard to work with this yellow. So the colors that I'm using, and if you can see right here, it's turning brown. And just use just a little bit of purple. And it's okay if you see purple around different parts of the face, that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything, because we're going to go over it one more time with orange. And just keep working it in. And I'm going to add a little purple down here. So you can tell the difference between the neck and the chin. Just be careful because when it comes out really wet from the marker. And then blend it down so it doesn't have a blowout. Okay. And when you go over your orange outline with the purple, it becomes more of a deep dark brown. And you can also use that, your outline that you just made, add a little bit of water, tap it to get any excess off, and just work it down. Now don't worry if you make some mistakes. If you have too much water, don't worry about it, because you can always come back when it dries and add more orange or purple. And that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to add more orange to blend it in. But you can see the neck is already turning brown. Now to get brown, there's some effort that needs to be made to get to it. And what we're going to end up doing is layering it until we get to where we want to be. So I've got enough purple on the face. I'm going to put a little bit more in some areas where I need it to be darker. And here's where I'll start throwing a little bit of color onto the lips. You can use any colors that you want. I'm going to go back over it with orange and maybe a little bit of red. If you're going to go back and outline with black, make sure you wait till the picture is thoroughly dry, or else it'll bleed. If you continue to layer with purple and orange, it'll eventually turn a deeper, darker color. Let that dry a little bit and see what you get. I'm going to go over it one more time with an orange. Okay. A little bit more with the orange. And then I'm going to lighten it up a bit by using that. Now once you get to this point, you can always use any other colors that you want. If you want a little bit of a pink, a little bit more red. And I'm adding a little bit of red to the eyes, just to warm it up a little bit. There we go. And then I'll probably go back over it with another purple. A little bit more red. Alrighty. Okay. I'm adding a little bit of red to some of these parts here, just to pink it up a little bit, warm up give it more of a reddish brown look. Alrighty. And if it's still a little too cool for you, you can always add more orange to it to warm it up. Now, my final part is I'm going to add more orange and kind of bring it all together. Oops, that's the red. Let me put some more red around here. I'm just getting rid of some of the red that's on here. Hate to see it go to waste. Okay, let's add that orange. Okay, we test it on the neck first. And then we're going to come in with the orange into some of the highlights. That way we can blend our hardest shadows in, or hardest shades rather. Oh, and I forgot to do the ears, so I'll get to those in a bit. Just go ahead and put some color on that. And then to work it in, just use the circular motions. I really wish they'd come out with a brown. That would make this so much easier. Okay, so we're almost there. I'm just adding more to the purple, so we're like kind of hiding the purple. Okay, and add a little bit more orange to the sides here. And I'm going to work those on in as well. We'll use a little bit of wet here. Let's bring that down. If you do dab, don't stay in one place. You want to keep this thing moving so you keep that water moving. You want to keep pushing that water. Because if you leave it in one spot, it'll leave a big blob that you'll have to wait and see what happens after it dries. Okay. We'll just keep going with the orange. We'll just keep moving it around. Okay, and we'll let that dry. And if it's not dark enough for us, we'll add more red, more purple, and just keep layering it. Orange and purple will keep getting you this darker color down here. Okay? So we'll let that one dry before I put some more black onto it or more purple. Like I can add more purple here. And I think I'll add some to the ears as well. Throw some orange in there. And she's lightening up a little bit as you see it drying. And so she's like a reddish brownish color. She's getting there. If you want to cover up more of the purple, just throw some more orange on there. If you want her to be darker, add some more purple, then put more orange over it. And if you want to try to get to the, we'll try it again also with some yellow as well. But the yellow comes out like a greenish color. So it'll give this a really weird greenish tone, which is why I don't like the yellow for this. If you think it needs to be warmer, it's like ask yourself, does it need to be warmer? Does it need to have more orangish tones to it? So add orange. If you need more darker tones to it, like this is too dark or too light up in here, add some purple. So let's go ahead. Or if you think it needs to be a little bit redder, we'll add more red. So I'm going to add a little bit more around the edges. And the more you add, the darker the brown will become. But you don't want to overwork it too much. And then to tie it all in, you want to put the orange over it again. Okay? And I don't want to overwork the face too much, so I'm going to go on to another one and let this one dry. Just leave it alone.